draft here and take a look. Now, Team No Limit is in fact the Korean team. To my knowledge, they're the only Korean team playing here. All of the members of this team are former StarCraft 2 players. So I'm excited to see. I mean, SC, Crazy Moving, Kong, these are guys we've seen time and time again. And they also have, looks like, Amoeba and Ruby playing here. So it's going to be nice. But now, Tails, that's a name I recognize. We see Tails is going to be playing on the side of Team DH9. I'm not sure if that's, again, account sharing. But that's a name that I've seen on Ladder many times, and that he's a pretty solid player. And on, we can actually take a look at the draft here. We've got Brightwing as the first ban from Team No Limit. A little bit weird.
It's a little strange, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but maybe they're worried about the Emerald Wind stopping some kind of judgment stuff, something like that. So we'll see what happens there. But we do see that Zeratul got picked up. We have Uther, so that combo exists with VP into Divine Storm. I mean, VP combos with pretty much anything, so that's really strong. Anubarak and Judgment, really, really strong. Smite allows Anubarak to get into position where he can, if he's just barely out of range for Burrow Strike, Smite can go down, he can run forward, he can Burrow Strike, and then he can Impale. That's really good. Zagara can just, stop fights entirely by saying, alright, I'm going to maw you. So if Raynor steps forward and Uther steps forward trying to get that Divine Storm set up, she can just say, no, I'm gonna maw you away. But the biggest thing to look at here is that Muradin has been picked up. And it's not something we see normally. I'm okay with it. It's interesting to see how it works. Haymaker is certainly an interesting mechanic. It's a great spell to use. It displaces someone massively. But it did get a tiny stealth nerf this patch that didn't go into any of the notes. It has a wind up on it now, much like Shakana does. So if you get hit out of it, or if you get stunned, displaced while you're winding up Haymaker,
cancels it out.
It won't go off. It'll go on a 10-second cooldown. So that's a thing. And a lot of times, Muradins will really like to jump in, Stormbolt, and then Haymaker someone away. And like that's what they like to do. They like to stun them up, position themselves properly, Haymaker the person into the enemy team, or rather back into their team, and proceed to kind of like dominate. It's basically like you're playing Stitches, but with a lot more risk involved. So interesting to see that happen. It does do a sizable lot more damage when you have the stacking talent from level 1. So we'll see if that gets picked up. But overall, pretty generic stuff. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Bloodlust here, but at the same time, it's not super good until level 20. Level 20 Bloodlust would lust the Zagara minions as well, so if she was double Hydra, then you have Hydra's spitting acid.
There's some nice synergy there, but I honestly would, even in this composition, if I was playing Rygar, I think I would want to go with Storm Shield. I don't know if the
Storm Shield?
On Rhaegar.
Oh, level
instead of Lust for 20. Okay. For the level 20 Lust. I don't know if the Zagara minions is enough to warrant that. Right. I mean, if you're playing with like a crazy push strat when you're doing something with maybe Asmodee, I can see more viability for that, but overall I actually don't. I don't think that's really the best pick. I think having the extra sustain there, especially when you have those two big frontliners, when you throw down Storm Shield and you throw down the Chain Heal, that's just and the healing total. It's just like it's so much. It's like good luck trying to kill us, bro.
Right.
We're gonna live for a long time. Both these compositions look pretty strong here, but the Muradin is the one weird pick because, like you said, there's a lot of other options they have available for their warrior, but they chose Muradin. Now they didn't go with Chen, they didn't go with Diablo, but again, this is a different meta. We're looking at these are two Asia region teams that we're not used to seeing a lot out of, and we're going to see Muradin play. Honestly, I can't think of a single time in an N8 event where I've seen Muradin picked. It's always, I mean, lately we've seen kind of a fall off on Diablo when they made the recent changes to Diablo. Diablo has become less common. But the Muradin pick is not expected, and I just want to shout out to the overlay because it looks like Raynor and Muradin's shoulder pads are actually jointed. It looks like they're kind of connecting there. Maybe that's what they were going for here. They knew the overlay would actually merge those two heroes right there. Looks pretty perfect, actually. I'm impressed. But all right, guys, I think we're ready. Matt, you ready to roll here?
Yeah.
Matt, once again, he's actually running Kings of the Storm while casting.
Yes.
He's a tournament admin caster extraordinaire doing multiple things at once, guys. We're ready to hop right on over into our game, the last game of round 1 here with Champion of New Maelstrom. And here we go. Well, on the left side, again, I just want to once again remind you guys that this is Team No Limit playing here on the right side of the map. Now, Team No Limit, these guys have a long history of playing esports. Now, not that the other team doesn't have any kind of history playing games competitively, because we don't know for a fact, but we have seen these guys playing in GSL, playing at MLGs, playing at ESLs, pretty much every StarCraft event that's been existing over the last several years. They've been competing there. In a pretty sizable amount of StarCraft 2 guys have shifted over to Heroes of the Storm. We see Idra LZ, we see White Raw, and at BlizzCon we're going to be seeing a lot of guys like Naniwa and Sasai playing the game, and Bishu. So pretty cool stuff happening throughout the community, and just the fact that it's the same engine. Hey, let's give the game a try. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's very cool to see people come back and try their hand at something new. So again, really excited to see it. They that was actually neat.
Almost
like, no, we don't want this.
You saw them ping it, and it's just like, let's get rid of that creep tumor. We don't want them to have that vision. We don't want to have them that. The W from the Wave of Light, I believe it's called, is almost enough. It's pretty funny. It's got to be frustrating. Come on, just give me one more damage.
A little bit frustrating.
But it's quite fine.
A couple of really quick things to note. Anubarak actually took Beetle damage. Not something we normally see unless you go full Beetle build. But even then, Beetle AI is not very strong right now. It does a lot of really weird things. It'll actually target NPCs and buildings over heroes. So it's kind of weird to see that. If you're purely on your own and you're fighting 1v1 against someone, then Beetles can actually do something. But if you're in team fights, it's kind of iffy. It's sort of like relying on RNG, and we're not playing Hearthstone right now.
I mean, not even then. They're just programmed to go for AI first. That's going to be their priority. Like with Nazebo, it's pretty similar with the spiders, but you can get jumping spiders, in which case they will actually pursue enemy players. But there's no talent that exists that has that functionality for the Beetles on Anubarak at this point in time.
Yeah. I like how Ruby is constantly trying to force people to do something here, because he can just tunnel away if things get bad. But at the same time, I'm not sure if he would be better off just being in lane trying to do something. It does draw away Zeratul, so it is stopping any kind of persistent ganking happening. But we'll see how it goes. And the last thing to talk about that's really like level 1-y is Raynor did end up taking the extra heal in the middle of the rush, so he will be getting 50% more from his heal, which I believe is 30% total out of his passive if it procs. But mines have opened up.
Yeah.
Look down there.
Now that's a lot of healing, and we can see that all of the members of Team No Limit have come into the mines here on the bottom side. Rhaegar still in the top, soaking that lane while Muradin's pressuring. They don't really need him since they know that Muradin's up top with them, but we see that we have the other 4 here, so there will likely be an engagement. But
it's very interesting to see that both teams went down bottom and there was no fighting at all.
Yeah, pretty passive, just kind of saying, hey, I like to play PvE. I want to raid here, but we have a big initiation coming here. We have all the members coming in from Team DH9, getting a nice stun there from Anubarak in favor of our guys here on Team No Limit. Now the lighting is very bright, but my rig it's very bright. I'm not sure why the replay client does this. I feel like I need sunglasses presently, but right now we're actually see 2 members just barely get out, and it looks like they're going to be all right. Now we see the burrow charge coming down here on Super. That extra healing is going to come down, but it's not going to be enough. You're not going to be able to sustain a Vala and a Anubarak plus a Tyrael ready to throw his sword in your face, and they all pop right on out. Jonas or Johns, throws a nice little swipe there and backs on up before he throws his life away. Now there's still quite a few skulls here left in the mines, but all 10 players are up in this game. We see that Team DH9 has all their players kind of topped off because they did suffer a few deaths. Now we're 2-2 in terms of kills in this game. Pretty dead even in levels, a slight lead for Team No Limit. And those Beetles actually having a lot of value in the mines.
Yeah, in mines they're fine because it doesn't matter if you're fighting heroes. They'll just go tank stuff for you and you won't lose any health. Actually, I like this call.
They're giving it up.
It's going to be a 50-50 goal, and it's going to be dead even.
And they're going to go straight to the Knights. This is a beautiful play, saying, hey, look, it's actually a risk for us to take a team fight. We could lose that and fall behind. We've already got 50 skulls. Let's do the safe thing, get the mercenaries in our favor, so that way we know we're coming out on top no matter what.
Personally, I like seeing enemy giants before Knights, just because it almost forces the enemy to say, okay, like, yeah, they might be doing knights, but if we don't take care of these giants, it's going to slowly chip away at our base, and we have to do something about them.
How do you feel about one member staying for giants and one member staying at knights and 4 going for giants? Actually, we have initiation coming here. Actually, just a little bit back off. The Hydra is going to poke away. Kong is going to back off here. And it just seemed like I mean, yeah, they got the offensive giants, which is great. But do you think that's more valuable than knights? Yeah.
I think with the current state of knights, that they don't do as much as they used to.
Without the healing?
Because they don't go into the same lane as your golem.
That's especially you're right, on this map.
Right. On
this
map specifically, it's like they seem very lackluster, and so I'm not sure if I can really appreciate that. But we have dead even golems, so this is a very interesting call. Check out mid though.
Yeah, we do have this big initiation here over the Knights. Now, both teams are just kind of feeling each other out. They got the Knights leashed, but they're going to fall right on back in just a moment. They're chasing a little bit longer than I thought they would. And we see in the bottom lane they want to defend this Golem, but Team No Limit doesn't necessarily want to give it up. The root was almost enough. The Muradin leaps out just in the nick of time. That could have been a kill on him if he got captured by the root from the Golem. Top lane is being pushed slightly, but being defended by a couple members here by Team No Limit. They're going to get this wall down very nice, and the Golem's going to do what he can. The stun will not be enough. They step forward, bait it out, knowing that's how it works. If there are 2 members in range of the Golem, it will provoke the stun out of him. But it has to be 2 players. Now we see John's kind of positioning around here. He wants to get the gank. He's going for crazy moving. He turns around on Rhaegar. Rhaegar is way out of position, gets body blocked and annihilated. Ruby stepping way forward. He doesn't have a healer anymore. He can shield himself, but this is actually really risky. He's going to actually burrow charge and barely survive here. Oh, the wave of light's not going to be enough to take him out. The Golem is still doing a lot of work there, and we can check out the top lane. The Golem has been taken out for a long time. The Giants are defensively used here to push it back, and the top lane is, well in the favor. Honest, all in all, I mean, they're going to hit 10 first at this current pacing, and it's going well for Team No Limit. Nice defense there. They got the pick up on Rhaegar for DH9, so it's still a very even game, but there is a slight lead here, and the Knights are still up, and both teams are well aware that that is an objective that both teams are after for. Crazy moving coming on in here, shooting off what he has, and Ruby's back up. All 10 players ready for action.
Well, I'm trying to think about what they should do right now, and Knights are pretty much the only major objective, but if they give this up, if either team loses on this objective, it means level 10 for No Limit, and it could mean level 10 as well for DH9, depending on how big the swing is in the fight. So this is extremely important right now.
Well, we see No Limit wants to go in. They're posturing. They're slowly moving forward. They have their 2 tanks in the front line, ready for action. The Q goes down, gets 1 hit, and the Side Storms are doing a sizable amount of damage, but Zeratul swiping away. Not enough. Looks like we have Uther getting very low. He's going to fall, but his ghost form is still present in the battle for a little while. Zeratul backing off here. Now, Ruby is very low, but the chain heals could be enough to top him off a little bit. Crazy moving going on in, and they actually got the Knights there, so that's good for them. They're just going to take the push while they have it. And meanwhile, that's one giant was getting extreme value. This wall has fallen. Now they got the single giant 4 Knights push with 3 members returning on the side of DH9.
Should we call single giant just like Chill Wind Yeti?
Chill Wind Yeti. He's chill, and he's just throwing he's got his little bag of rocks. He's just like, I'm going to throw this one, and I'm going to throw this one, doing massive damage. Really just crazy value on that one Merc. And, well played. Well played by just having the control of the Merc.
I don't actually like the call to back up here. They're 2 levels ahead. They have ultimates, and they're not going in on this. Far too often it feels like we see teams that they have an advantage and they don't want to press it. Now, granted,
they're grabbing
coming down bottom, right? Mines are going to be up. They actually are up already. But they have this opportunity to go in and to force a fight to absolutely guarantee everything before they go to mines. Like, you don't really want to fight in mines. You can fight in mines and bait it, and that might happen. That might be great for you. But they literally had the ability to just straight out fight them before they were level 10. They decided not to take it. Now, if they bait here, this is great. And it looks like they're trying to do just that.
Yep, well, we see the Q come down and actually hits 2 members here from DH9. A beautiful Maw taking 2 members out of the fight. We see the Bloodlust, we see the Archon going down, a VP taking out 2 members of TNL. But the Nice, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. They're out of the Void Prism there. And we have a big team wipe. It's just
that was perfect.
Full team
wipe.
wipe.
That was exactly what they needed. So it's good that they waited. It's good that it worked out that way, and it should be especially noted that Ma was pretty much as perfect as you can get.
Yep.
It stopped them from being able to leave as well. They couldn't actually click on the exit. So once those people were in there, not even the people that were mod, but the two that were outside of it, they were committed.
It was blocked.
They were
Yep,
committed
it was
to the fight.
completely blocked.
And there's nothing they could have done about it. So that was great. That was a full team wipe. This is going to give them level 13, and if they don't push to win off this, I will be very sad. This is a 100 skull golem. I'm alright with their backing right now because they're going to need help.
Top off, yep.
And they'll be able to get there pretty close by the time that it spawns. It should not by any means go top. Like the 0 skull golem means nothing. It's completely useless.
And this wall, I mean, still have the the full
either, like,
fortification here.
Be on your golem at this point. Like the fact that they're doing giants right now, they're just wasting time. If they were to go in and fight right now, they would have such a massive advantage. They have. They also have ultimate lead because their ultimates are on a much shorter cooldown than the enemy team's ultimates, and they also use them first.
Well,
so they can go in and blow this up.
DH9 is going for the sneak here. They get crazy moving out of position. They pick him up immediately. We see the smite coming in. The Maw goes down. It's a nice Maw that's going to help them come back here into this fight, but still losing that massive amount of damage in the early fight is going to make this a very difficult engagement for them to take. Now they're up 3 levels. That's a talent advantage, and they can continue pressuring a beautiful burrow charge, but they don't have a follow-up for it. Maw is, of course, on cooldown, as we saw it use very frequently, or recently. Words are hard, and a nice VP is down, allowing them to disengage here.
So, well, they might try to re-engage. The spikes to come out, the impales out, the burrow strike is out.
Oh wow, the body block is real.
By that burrow strike actually ends up putting himself in front of them. And now this is really dangerous because they've lost a member of DH9, but the entirety of TNL is up. Vela's obviously on her way. She's only about halfway across the map. But this is still really good. They're going to have at least half of the Golem's health moving in on core, and they should be able to finish off this. And I'll talk about something else after the game ends to go over build orders. But
assuming the game ends here, because they can absolutely defend this push. Now the 100 Skull Golem is going to hit like a truck, even though we're pretty early in the game, but we see a triple stun coming down here. A lot of heroics are ready. They're going for this Raynor. The Bloodlust is down. Is Raynor going to be able to survive? The extra healing is going to pay off, allow him to live, but none of these players are going to get out of this. All 3 will fall. Johns is just kind of fall back, and that's going to be GG in favor of our former SC2 pros here, Team No Limit.
Yeah. And now, that was really well done. But the thing that I wanted to talk about was the Anubarak actually did go with a full Beetle build. That happened. And it's not something we see almost ever in competitive play, just because the extra range on Impale as well as the bed of barbs is super good. Like, the worth in that is unbelievable. So that's a thing, and it's really scary to see that. But we didn't see it there. It didn't matter. It worked out in favor, and that was, I think, the second game that we've seen that didn't actually make it to level 16 today.
Second or third? I mean,
a lot of the games have gone long. A lot of the games have gone really short.
It's been pretty side to side. But again, these were all best of one, so it's one and done. I mean, if you lose, you are out of the event because it is single elimination, and that actually ends round 1 of our event here. Now, just to recap some things, we can actually just run through the various teams that have played. Now, if I can find my bracket here, we can see that Team No Limit has actually defeated Team DH9. We just saw that right there. Descent over Superboys, ORZ over IAW, Triple Q over Arthur, and DMC is going to fall to MY White. Glorious Gaming defeated ZNH, and Snowflake defeated Clairvoyant. Now, this pairs Symbio versus Team No Limit. These are best of 3s in the next round.
Oh, you're right. I thought you were going from the bottom up.
Yes, no. So for round 2, we have Symbio Gaming, who had a bye in round 1. They're going to be playing against Team No Limit, so that's the SC2 Pro team here. The Korean team playing against Symbio, who is known to be the best here, at least in the Western world that we know of. Yep. So that's going to be a massive match. We have Team Descent versus Team ORZ. I'm not sure what happened. It's actually a best of 5. They changed the so
it's supposed to be best of 3. Everything that's not everything after round 1 and that's not grand finals is supposed to be best of 3. I think there was some lag issues or something, so they asked for certain games to be replayed. I don't actually have the exact details on it.
Yes.
But the series ended up being a best of 5, so we'll see how that works out when we go into the game. We did have one team drop out just due to time restraints, so MY White actually ended up dropping out of the tournament, and Triple Q will advance just because of that.
Yep, so round 2 they advance forward, and the final game, which is actually going to be the next game, we're going to do this backwards. We're going to start out, our next game is going to be Glorious versus Snowflake. Now, we've seen these guys play time and time again, and last week I believe they played, and Snowflake went over Glorious in the semifinals, where Snowflake...
3-1.
It was 3-1, yes, that is correct, and we had Snowflake advance to the grand finals versus Symbiote. But guys, we're going to throw to a quick break while we prepare for round 2. Get ready for Glorious versus Snowflake. It's going to be a sick match. We have Symbiote versus Team No Limit, and we have Descent versus ORZ. Some massive matches coming up in round 2, guys. Stay tuned.